Hey, welcome to the premiere episode of Medium Well Done, a cooking show where everything is medium well done. You know what? I'll work on that catchphrase. But today we're making coffee, and while I know everyone's got one of these drip coffee makers somewhere, there's real no panache, and if you really want to impress that special person in your life and make just a better cup of coffee overall, you might want to get yourself a pour-over coffee maker like this Hario V60 model I've got here. Now these do require paper filters, and I know you can get wire mesh ones, but honestly I found that the paper filter does a little bit better job of keeping some of that gunk out of your coffee. Now I've got 35 grams here of coffee beans. That's a little stronger than most people like, so if you like a little bit milder cup, maybe dial it down to about 30, and be sure to grind them fresh. Now to really get a consistent cup of coffee, you're going to want to put this all on a scale, and I'm measuring everything in grams here today because that's what most of the coffee baristas I follow kind of recommend. Now, first things first, rinse your coffee filter. If you've got a real high-end one, it won't have a whole lot of flavor to it, but if you're getting some cheaper filters, or even if you do have a nice one, it's best just to get some of that paper and bleach flavor out of there. Once that's done, add in your coffee beans, and now we're going to bloom the coffee. So just add yourself double the amount of coffee in water. So since I've got 35 grams of coffee here, I'm adding about 70 grams of water. Now I'm just going to let that sit for about 30 seconds. Now what this is really doing is this is kind of starting the extraction process, and it's helping getting some of that trapped CO2 out of the coffee, since this is a freshly brewed batch from a local coffeery. Now once you get that bloom done, what you're going to do is just do a real slow pour. And I went a little fast here, I'm going to be honest. This should take somewhere between 2 and 3 minutes if you really do it right. So take your time, get a nice slow pour going for yourself. Once the pour is done, just let the remainder of that water seep the rest of the way down through and get into the coffee pot. If you got a real good extraction, you should see a nice flat layer of coffee at the bottom once everything's said and done. Can't really see it here, didn't get a good angle on it, but it's a nice smooth surface even if it was a little quick, because I got a nice even pour all around the edges. Give it a few stirs to get those last little bits of flavor out of there, and that's really about it. Pour yourself a nice cup. This one was good and strong the way I like it. It wasn't very bitter. It was a tiny bit sour. I probably could have gone a little bit slower. But you know what? It's how I started my day off. Cheers.